Hello, everyone. Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming. I am your host, Mike Mullis, aka Stinger NLG. Hope everybody has had a wonderful week. I love when news comes out on a Friday. It it just gives us great ammo to talk. And speaking of being able to talk, I've got some great guests with me tonight, and I have one more that may be on the way. I had to decipher a DM message from him on Twitter that I wasn't quite sure of, but I'm hoping he's okay and going to join us soon. But I'm going to introduce my panel for the night. I think for a while here we're going to go with what I'd like to call the community podcast, where I'm here, of course. I've been here from the beginning, and I'm going to rotate in people that are some of my great friends online, some great podcasters themselves, and just great people to talk gaming with. So, going to start with, of course, ladies first, Mamacita from Classy Gamer Gals. How you doing, Boo?
Hey everybody, it's Mamacita, of course, with Classy Gamer Girls and always just trying to keep it classy.
And you always do.
I do
And
my
of course,
best.
and of course, my good friend from the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, formerly of Next Level Gaming, Enrique Castallanos. What's up, Aries?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Mamacita, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm just peachy.
Good to have you both on tonight. And what we're gonna do tonight, guys, is I'm gonna try to keep this thing on track. I'm gonna keep it going because I know, Mamacita, you got a hard limit of how long you can be on tonight. And to be honest with you, as much as I absolutely love those 3-hour podcasts we do, every once in a while, like an hour and 10-minute show is not it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
really, I mean, it's not there's not as much news, but what is out there this week is huge. Um, so I want to get right to it. Actually, very, very, very quickly. Uh, Enrique, did you see the Dreamcast video I put up?
I did, Mike. And let me tell you something. I was impressed, man. It looked really good.
Not awesome looking.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
No.
I mean, the to me at least the visuals have held up pretty well.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
has. I've been playing it, as much as I can with everything else going on. But
yeah.
that Skies of Arcadia footage was for you, brother.
Oh, hey, you know what, man? I appreciate that. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I hope one day that game comes back.
You
I really
never
do.
know. You never know. You got to tweet the man, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
keep
that well,
hope
that
alive.
you keep hope alive.
exactly.
Until then, if you guys go to that video, the link to where you can get all that stuff to hook it up to your TV is right there. So, all right. Jeff Bartram, Doc Cupcake, may be joining us soon. He actually tweeted me. He has a picture of a latte, so it's not actually. He said I'm driving home. He said, okay, just got a drink and driving, and I said what? So he said bad wording.
Dude, I thought he
So
was. I thought he popped up with a cold one and was driving back to the house.
So he can join us once he gets in. If he gets in too late, we'll just grab him next week. We always love having Doc in, and there's some things that actually I want him to talk about that he's doing with Doc's gaming. I mean, stuff that he put on Twitter that how do you compete with a man like that? You can't. He's one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
So, all right, guys. So, Call of Duty versus Battlefield. What perfect timing for tonight.
Mm.
How many of you saw the Battlefield Twitch stream today?
I did.
I didn't see the stream, but I did see the reveal trailer.
Oh my God! Now I know, I realize it's in game. It's not in game footage. It's in engine footage and all that stuff. But the premise, like I was just blown away. I am so ready to get out of
Yeah.
modern day,
Hmm.
shooters and get back to the good old days of. Now this one's going way back to World War One,
Yeah.
and if everything I heard was correct, and you guys fill in the blanks for me, we're talking mounted horses,
Yep.
biplanes. We're gonna fly freaking biplanes. I mean, tanks and all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is gonna be insane.
Yeah.
And and a full on campaign, which it, no disrespect to all you have to have multiplayer and no single player gamers, but some of us live and die by the campaign. So thank you. We're finally going to get a really good um, World War One campaign,
Yeah.
and I'm happy because I was happy with Hardline. So if Dice can do that same kind of storytelling there, I think I'm going to be happy. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys real quick. Mamacita, give me your impressions of Battlefield
Well, let me, first of
One,
all,
by
full
the way.
full disclaimer: I am not a huge Call of Duty or Battlefield. I'm just not a huge fan of those series. So forgive me. I'm just not. However, I understand a lot of people are. So I was interested in what both had to offer, and I tried. I looked at the trailers. And I think the first thing, though, that I saw and heard about, first of all, hearing about the campaign, and then going back, that World War One, and I think a lot of shooter fans were crying for a shooter set in that time frame, and that's what I have been hearing, and I think that's what a lot of fans were praising about. Yes, finally, this futuristic shooter style, I guess, has just kind of gotten old, and people just kind of want to go back to, I guess the origins, I guess, for lack of a better term. So when I saw it, I mean, I was I'm not gonna say I was impressed with, and I for a moment I'm thinking, okay, is this in-game footage or is this just cutscene? I wasn't really clear on that, but I just think that the concept, and like you said, the mountable horses, and to me, the Battlefield series, to me, has, in my opinion, has always, I thought, I was a lot more impressed with it. Even though I only played it for a little bit, both series, I still was just kind of more impressed with Battlefield. It just seemed like there was so much more to do. It's more action versus, I don't know, Call of Duty was, I don't know, I don't want to say boring, but it just didn't, I wasn't as impressed with it, I would say. But I'm glad that Dice and EA are, they're listening to fans and giving them what I think they've been asking for in a shooter for this generation.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with all of that, and not being a big, um, I don't know, you guys know me. Like I said, I'm a campaign guy. I
Yeah.
love shooters, but
Mm-hmm.
campaigns are where it's at. But man, some of the things that they were talking about today, no battle is ever the
Excuse me.
same. All the destruction and stuff like that,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Enrique,
Yeah.
give it to us.
So, I've, you know, I haven't been into Call of Duty in a couple years now. I mean, I loved Modern Warfare. That was probably when the series was at the top of its game. But, um, and I think you said this earlier, Mama City, Battlefield just has a lot. To me, it just offers more in terms of in-game experience with the ability to really choose different character classes. And when you're playing online, um, it's definitely more strategic. There's definitely more teamwork involved in Battlefield, and that's
Yeah.
kind of been the big draw for me, being able to like pick different character classes. Run with a squad of players, have medics, have guys dropping ammo packs down, have guys dropping med packs, having the medics revive, um, your down teammates, and then there's obviously the vehicle aspect of the game where you can have air support, ground support. I mean, I was really big into Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Oh, great
And,
game.
oh, it was awesome. And there's a map, Eureka Harbor. It's the one map I probably played the most online in that game. And me and my buddy Shiz, I gave you a shout out to my buddy Shiz, he's an awesome gamer. He's probably one of the best gamers I've ever gamed with. Just pure talent. I mean, he's just ridiculous at anything he plays. Um, we got so good at just being in the tank, we were getting surgical with it. We were sniping snipers with the tank. It was that. I mean, we were just. It was crazy. I mean, I think we would each get like 50 kills and maybe die once in the tank. I mean, it wasn't fair, um, but that's always been the allure to me. Like it offers everyone a different experience. Like if you're into vehicles, you don't like the ground combat, you can do that. Um, if you're not into driving tanks or flying helicopters or jets, then you could fight on the ground. So it offers a little bit of something, I think, for everyone. But I think for me, the going back to World War One is brilliant for them because no one's doing that right now. And so now they can really differentiate themselves from Call of Duty. We know Call of Duty's coming out with Infinite Warfare. It's based in the future. If you look at some of the other shooters that have come out, like maybe Destiny isn't the best comparison because it's it's an online shooter, more like an MMO. But everything seems to be like heading or set in futuristic settings, and we haven't had like a good World War II or World War One shooting game. And so when I saw this today, I was floored. I was so floored because we haven't had anything like this in a long time. And I think there was a scene where the guy like had a shovel and he hit the guy in the face,
Uh huh.
and I was like, yes.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. I was excited because we haven't seen that. And honestly, like you look at Far Cry. I mean, I've heard some people say, "Oh, well, it's World War II and it's gonna suck because it's set in the past." But look what they did with look what Ubisoft did with Far Cry. They
It
took
went,
it back to
yeah,
the Stone Age, and it was a
yeah.
hit. Yeah. So I mean, I think this thing's gonna have legs. I think this is gonna be a big um, this is gonna be a big game for them. I think, and I'm glad they're doing this because it really offers, if you're not into the futuristic shooters, which I think there's just too many of them, this is kind of a nice break from those types of games. And I can't wait to see more. I'm excited. I want to know. There's a Zeppelin there at the end of
Oh
the
my,
trailer.
yeah.
I want to know if I can get one of those.
I immediately saw the tweets or responses was, okay, Call of Duty, you're on death watch, or Call of Duty is done, and I just immediately, saw these tweets.
Well,
But I'm like, okay, really. But I would like to ask you guys, just if you don't mind, me asking, having played, both of those, Battlefield and Call of Duty, and just for a little bit, I might say. So I haven't had a whole lot of actual gameplay in it. But what I have played, with Battlefield, Enrique, you kind of mentioned it, but there was so much more, to do. Like flying
yeah.
the airplanes and the vehicles, and then yes, the strategy. I, for one, just don't understand the appeal of Call of Duty versus a Battlefield. Why isn't Battlefield the one selling, like the number one selling shooter for, the fall every year? I don't get that because, as one who's just not, really into first person shooters, I don't understand the appeal. So maybe you guys can help me understand how is it that Call of Duty seems to supersede Battlefield
Yeah.
as far as sales and the appeal.
You know what, Mamacita? I think that with the one thing that Call of Duty offers gamers is its accessibility. That you can pick up the controller and you can just get into it right away.
Okay, more
Where
of a pick up
Battlefield,
and play.
yeah,
I can
yeah,
agree with that,
yeah. Where Battlefield, you have to learn these character classes. You have to, and there's definitely a little bit of strategy with Battlefield. More
especially
so,
with vehicles.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Like I remember the last Battlefield flying the jets. I
Hmm.
mean, I tried it, but yeah, I
And
was.
even Hardline, Hardline had those, cops and robbers modes and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes,
So,
yes.
and I think the problem with Hardline was, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to look it up because I may be incorrect, but I thought Battlefield Hardline did not launch in the fall. I thought that came out in either January or February to get out of the
I
because they
thought
did
I thought it came out in March, but I mean, I
you,
think you're right, Mike. I think it came out like early in
March
the year.
17th. Good. Yep, you were right.
Yeah.
But so it didn't come out in the fall. Um, and I don't know if maybe that was because they didn't want to compete with Call of Duty. They just didn't want to get run over by it. Because Enrique, you're right. I mean, and not just that. I mean, Call of Duty is not just uh, 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 multiplayer FPS on its own. I mean, you never hear about Battlefield competitions and things like that. I mean, Call of Duty is an esports thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Battlefield is not able to touch. For a lot of the reasons, Enrique, that you say about being a little more complex to play. Um, I'm not a. I mean, I don't. I haven't played really Call of Duty in a long time. Not since Black Ops. I
Yeah,
didn't play,
me too.
I didn't play Battlefield 4 a whole lot because I didn't get it at launch because of all the issues it had. The first Battlefield that I really got into this gen was Hardline, which a lot of people hated because it was different. But you, it's amazing to me that you can't be different anymore. I mean, Hardline was as different a Battlefield game as you could get from the series, right?
Yeah,
And it wasn't even war. It was a cop show,
yeah.
and it got blasted for not being another futuristic war, series. But yet, and this is amazing to me. So let's move over to Call of Duty real quick. So Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is the name of the upcoming one, and it seems like it's going even farther in the future and possibly into space. Well, not possibly. It's going into space. You'll be able to get into a ship and go into space.
They'll be fighting Crota.
Right. The
Oh my
Klingons are
gosh.
coming.
The
And
Klingon.
so, and yes, I'm eating cheese tonight. I'm sorry, listeners or followers. Um, it's been a long week, and cheese is my vice.
Mike, are you having a little wine and cheese and crackers?
Yeah.
The wine is coming next. Let me tell you. After this week I've had,
Oh,
the
I hear
wine is
you.
coming next. So Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is it's set in that now beyond even uh, what the previous games have been. And what's interesting is more people are interested in the remaster of Call of Duty 4 than they are in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. In fact, I have seen some people. The running joke now is, because you can only get the Call of Duty remastered as part of the bundle with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. That if you buy this Call of Duty 4 remastered bundle, you get Infinite Warfare for free. I mean, that's how bad it's got. And if you look at I'm going to bring it up because I think it's crazy. If you look at um, the amount of likes and dislikes that the Call of Duty trailer got, I mean, Activision had to, or Infinity Ward, they had to come out and kind of address the fact that the the trailer has more dislikes than any other trailer they've ever put out. Now, 9 million people have seen the trailer by now, but um, here,
You know what, Mike? Doesn't matter unless those folks speak with their wallets.
well, this is true, but I want to show you this
Exactly.
real quick, and it's interesting you
Exactly.
bring that up. It's hard to see, but there are actually twice as many dislikes and likes on the video.
Wow.
However, 9.6 million people have seen it, so we also don't know. That may not be the most accurate representation of that. And Enrique, you hit the nail on the head I was just about to hit. It doesn't matter what happens with likes and dislikes or how it stacks up against Battlefield. The fact of the matter is that Call of Duty sells every year, no matter what. And it's not only the number one game every year for the entire year, but ever since 2014, it was the number one and number 10 game of of the year, of the entire year. And
Yeah.
I had these charts, and I'm not finding them at the moment the way I found them before, but it's very it's not hard
Yeah.
to Google search. But Call of Duty Ghosts came out. It was a number one game in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
In 20 Actually, it was I'm sorry, in 2013. In 2014, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was the number one game. Call of Duty Ghosts was the number 10 game.
Yeah.
And then last year, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, number one game, and it was only out for a month. What was the number 10 game? Call of Duty Advanced
Advanced
Warfare.
warfare.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And Mike,
Yep.
look at the bundle for the PlayStation 4 bundle, the Black Ops 3 bundle. I think it accounted for 89% of Sony PlayStation 4
Oh
sales or
yeah, I
something.
did read that.
oh,
I read that just yesterday.
Yeah. and
Yeah,
it's still
Yeah,
charting on
that's
Amazon.
crazy.
yeah. So
Oh
if you,
wait, does that make the PlayStation now the new shooter box?
Yeah, it does.
Uh-oh.
well,
I think so.
well, yeah. Although,
Well,
although
well,
funny enough, Battlefield has now. This is I hate marketing deals. Oh, I
Yeah.
hate these marketing deals because now, Battlefield has Xbox behind it,
Xbox,
which
yeah, it does.
which
Yeah.
is smart for them. I wasn't quite sure they were going to go for it because we know Uncle Phil says he doesn't like these
Uncle
deals.
Phil.
But they need this.
Yeah, they
They need it
did. They
because
did.
especially if it's coming out especially if it's coming out now or if it's coming out in October and it's going to actually go up against Call of Duty. Microsoft needs this. They really do.
No, they do.
So, but um, and I'm going to bring up to be I want to make sure we show them both. With Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, it's a juggernaut, and nobody is going to take away from it. It's built for multiplayer, of course. It's got 3 new modes. It's got zombies, and it's got cooperative zombie mode this time. So, I mean,
Mm.
you're going to be, they want to do the big set pieces and stuff. How much destruction, Battlefield is known for its destruction. How much of that destruction you're going to see in Call of Duty, we don't know yet. Um, but there's a ton of interest, and I think people are going to go crazy for the remaster. Uh,
I think that's good. That's going to push sales. Really, I think a lot of people, and I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people are going to buy this game for the Modern Warfare remaster.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
weird because the remaster, the Call of Duty bundle with the remaster is more expensive than just the game by itself.
Yeah.
So people are going to they're going to make more money off of this. And I don't want to say that what I do think is I think there are two things that I don't like about what they're doing. Number one is that you cannot buy the remaster by itself.
Paywall.
Yep, is that it's required. And two, I think it is uncool that it's not unfair because they can do whatever they want, but it's not cool that they're not allowing that game to be backward compatible from 360 to Xbox One. I think that now we know
Yeah.
why. We know why. Money grab. But I think those are two things that for a company that right now is getting a lot of negative press over all this, or a lot of negative feedback. I don't know about the press, but the negative feedback and all those dislikes on their videos and stuff, it might be a good goodwill gesture to maybe cut a break.
Yeah, the only way that happens, Mike, is if people speak with their wallets. I mean,
Exactly. It's no
it's
point. Yes, and I'm sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry. I
No,
mean,
I mean, because
interrupting.
we see this all the time. We see this with the list wars. Where people start listing exclusives, but then they don't go out
Hmm.
and support uh, the exclusive software content that they're bragging about. Um, so yeah, I mean, all those dislikes again don't mean anything unless people go out.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
I agree with that totally.
and
Yeah.
I was hoping that they would sell the game separately, like give us the option, but they're not going to. So
No, and they don't have to
no, they don't.
because I think people are gonna buy it. That's just it. They're gonna buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, you're put in a situation where, I mean, it's a catch-22, and you actually have no choice. And so I mean, you see, as much as we want people to speak with our wallets, speaking with our wallets is not buy the game, which means you aren't going to get the remastered version of Modern Warfare. So then what
Right.
do you do?
Right.
If you want to play it, you have to buy it. So they're almost forcing your hand. And as a gamer, it's really hard for us to, there's a game we really want to play. It's really hard for us to say, okay, I'm going to take a position and speak with my wallet.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
By
you
the way,
know?
how funny is it with these ridiculous marketing deals that if I click Xbox One here, it doesn't even show doesn't even show the Xbox logo anywhere. Like
That's hilarious.
you can't even like over on the Battlefield page. At least you had the PlayStation
Yeah.
thing there. Here, you don't even like. You can't even.
It's those it's
Hilarious.
those it's those subtle marketing tricks.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you subconsciously associate the game with PlayStation when you walk into a store.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that over the course of the next year or two, that's going to start manifesting itself because up until now, you're still seeing, at least at retail, uh, you're still seeing the retail copies sell better on the Xbox. It may not happen this time around.
Maybe, yeah.
Um, so we'll see. Sorry, somebody was your man Lemieux's in the chat room tonight, and
Yeah.
he is digging the podcast, and so I wanted to say thank you. I always got to
Well,
say thank you to the
well,
chat
he
room.
he actually brought up a great point. He said the Modern Warfare remake would outsell Infinite Warfare if they were sold separately. I agree
I
with that.
totally agree with that. I
Mm.
totally agree with that. I think, and this is what is so crazy about the negative feedback that I'm seeing about going back to World War One with Battlefield, is that people are actually saying, "I don't want Infinite Warfare." So why not go back to why not go back in time? What's wrong with going back to an older war? I mean,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
yeah, I'm so stoked over that. I really am. I've just gotten so tired of, modern day stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Titanfall 2 is gonna have to blow me away for
That's the
me
real
to.
Infinity Ward, by the way, Mike.
Yeah, really. Well, it's
Mm.
right. It's the real Call of Duty at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Remember Titanfall was Call of Duty with mechs?
Yeah.
Well, Call of
Mm-hmm.
Duty Advanced Warfare was Titanfall without mechs. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people
uh,
really want a Call of Duty killer so bad. They want Titanfall 2, they want it, or Titanfall, they want Battlefield. I mean, people are just screaming for it, but it just never happens. It just doesn't. I mean, they're sitting pretty, and Activision knows it. They know that people are gonna dislike, people are gonna complain, and people are gonna, say whatever. But then they're still gonna go out and buy the game. They're still gonna do it. I mean, it was the
well,
same thing with Destiny. I mean, there were folk that took a stand, but I think I just read an article the other day that they were talking about Destiny.
thirty
How
million.
gamers.
30 million, yeah.
Yes, yes. And so as much as and I complained about it, and I did eventually just stop playing it after a while, but I think we have to take a stand, and we have to fight our inner gaming addictions at some point. And I'm guilty of this myself. So I'm not asking anyone to do something that telling you to do something that I don't do, or whatever. But I just think we have to take a position at some point and say enough is enough. If we want something different, if we want more, we have to tell the Activisions, the EAs, or whatever, tell them what we want by refusing to buy their game DLC, season pass, or whatever it is. That's just my 2 cents.
I think what's interesting though with Battlefield is that I think they are. I mean, obviously the fact that I mean, Battlefield 4 for all of its issues still did well. I mean, it's not Call of Duty, but it still sold very well. It's still highly supported,
Yeah.
and with EA Access now, you get the premium stuff as part of EA Access, and of course with EA Access and Origin Access, you're going to get to play Battlefield 1 early, and for a free trial, like all the other games. And there's an open beta coming for Battlefield 1, and um, I, I think that it's probably going to be, another one of these. I hate these. Play it on Xbox first, and then the rest. You know, marketing betas should not be, allowed to do that. But whatever. Um, I think that this is a chance for Dice to come back. I think people now have seen Battlefront and seen, okay, so now Dice has gotten out of the shadow of Battlefield 4's launch and issues. Battlefront is, for all intents and purposes, a great game for what they wanted to do. Sold extremely, extremely well. It's going to use the same engine. and then now they've got they've got their reputation to build back on, and this could be a big game for them. This really could.
Hey, Mike.
Obviously, go
Mike,
ahead.
it sounds like you can actually get the Zeppelins. I'm reading something right now.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
right from the horse to the Zeppelin.
well, yeah, and imagine like World War I was all a lot of it was trench warfare. So imagine like just being in a Zeppelin and like hovering over trenches and just like
Oh,
unleashing like as Maximus said, hell. Um, I mean, yeah.
the only thing that would be better, the only thing that would be better is if you could take the role then of Indiana Jones and be inside the Zeppelin, and that would be awesome. But I like what they're talking about doing, and it's what's really neat about what Battlefield is trying to do is they're not going to be specifically like the old World War
Hmm.
games where you're just going across Europe. You're going to be in Italy. You're going to be in the Arab desert. There's going to be all these new things that I, if this. I mean, I would bring this picture back up again because obviously, again, this
Yeah.
is in engine. It's not in game. But
Hmm.
if this could be anything close to what you could do in Battlefield One in this biplane dogfight kind of thing, I'm in. I might just do nothing but that. You just throw me into the Sopwith Camel, and Snoopy and I'll take out the Red Baron. I'm
Snoopy.
all about that.
I
But
love
I
it.
mean,
I love
if
it.
you could be, if that's what they're shooting for, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. So and getting back to Call of Duty because I do want to stress that there are some other things at play. Uh, you know, I know Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is trying to do some new things, and let's not forget that Activision bought MLG, so they have this ability to set bigger and bigger tournaments and things like that up, so they can leverage that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think the obvious thing is that Call of Duty will be the bigger game this year sales wise. I don't. I just there's too much of a pedigree there for Battlefield to really take on.
Hmm.
But Battlefield on its own right could do extremely well,
Yeah.
um, and it makes you wonder what else is going to compete in that time zone.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing from Nintendo. So what else you got? I mean, I don't even know what else is. I mean, obviously E3 is in a couple of
E3 still around?
years, surprisingly.
I kind of jokingly say that because we're
We've talked about it.
yeah, but we're hearing. I mean, we're hearing these big franchises. We're hearing these announcements for these big franchises. We're hearing these announcements before E3,
Well,
Yeah,
and that's been happening the last couple of years.
it
yeah,
has.
yeah, it
It
has.
has.
But historically, that hasn't been the case. So it's.
No,
I feel like it's just happening more now.
and it
Like,
didn't even happen at EA Plays, which is their big event that's two
hmm
days before E3. E3 in and of itself can be a discussion, and I think what I'm going to do is a good friend of mine, Tony Polanco. He runs the Throwdown podcast. I've been on with him over on Ken's Broken Games channel in the Gaming Assembly,
hmm
and him and I started to talk about E3. So, as you guys know, I went to E3 from like 1999 to 2007. He's been going to E3 since about 2008. So him and I were going to kind of talk about this evolution of E3 and
yeah,
now where it's going because my gut feeling is that this is probably, if this isn't the last one, you may not have one 3 years down the road. Uh, and and Activision's not there, EA's not
yeah,
there, Nintendo is showing one game, and that's what I wanted to pivot to because it's 10:45 and we will get out of here between like 11 and 11:10. I promise. Um, so let's pivot over to Nintendo because there's been a couple of interesting rumors and things floating about. Uh, and then, of course, what they are doing about E3, which is nothing, basically. Um, so they decided that, I mean, they doubled down on the fact that they're only
Mm-hmm.
bringing Zelda Wii U to E3.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a Treehouse event, but they're not even going to have a Nintendo Direct. So no press conference, no Direct. Their booth is going to be nothing but Wii U Zelda, nothing but. So in a side conversation, now you have one of the big three pulling out of E3 for all intents and purposes because what they're not even doing a press conference. EA, Activision, and Microsoft is doing a fan fest that week,
Mm-hmm.
which I think they're going to start believing is a bigger event than E3. And Sony has the PlayStation Experience, which is their fan fest. I I would bet between one. I just don't know which one of those other two are going to blink first. I wouldn't be surprised if either Microsoft pulled out next year and just did a fan fest and did their press conference at the beginning of the fan fest and actually did the press conference for the fans,
Mm-hmm.
or if Sony moves PlayStation Experience back to June or July and did the same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No,
And then,
wouldn't surprise me either.
you know, because I think what's going to happen if I predicted anything, and I could be totally wrong. I'm not. This is nothing to bank on. My guess is that shows like Gamescom and PAX will become the bigger shows. Like PAX will stop being so much of an indie game show, and that's where everybody's going to descend upon for big title news. And then you'll have the fan fests that each company puts on.
Yeah,
And I think E3 is I don't know what it would become. I mean,
nothing.
nothing.
But Mike, it's interesting because a lot's changed. I mean, I think you brought this up a long time ago that with social media now, that it's almost better to present your products or open up your events to your customers because they're going to talk about this stuff word of mouth. They're going to talk about it on social media, and so you really don't need the gaming press maybe as much as you used to in the past.
No, you don't. And it's such a 24/7 instantaneous news cycle that
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, I wake up in the morning at 7:30
Hmm.
with the kids, and before I even get in the car to go to work, somebody has posted some sort of gaming news.
The Uncharted 4 reviews the other
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
you
They were
know,
up at like 7 in the morning. I saw those.
yeah. So you've got this cycle. Now all the embargoes for reviews are midnight.
Yeah.
In some cases. So
Yeah.
you really don't need an E3 anymore.
No.
And I'm interested because Tony takes the opposite effect. He doesn't believe that E3 is going away, and him and I are going to kind of discuss, E3 past and present,
Hmm.
because I haven't been there in a long time, and I don't really, I don't beyond the press conferences we see on TV. I really don't know what's going on there anymore. And
Hmm.
now you see this happening.
Yeah. I
And
feel.
maybe it becomes a smaller maybe
y-
E3 just becomes a smaller shell of
y-
itself.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't know if it actually goes away or does it just evolve to just, a little different than what we are accustomed
Yeah.
to. And I don't know, maybe they at some point, open it up to, the fans and I don't know, maybe condense it somewhat. I don't know. But it does seem that E3 has lost its shine just a little bit. It does
Yeah.
appear that that's
Hmm.
the trend. But I don't know. I don't know if it actually just goes completely away. It just seems like it's almost like too big to fail because the name is just so, synonymous to gaming and gaming reveals and all the hype behind it. So I don't know, but we're definitely, keep our eyes on that conversation that you're going to have with Tony. I'm really interested.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of
Well,
agree. I kind of agree
Okay.
with what Mama said though about it being a staple of the industry and it yeah being too big to fail, but I think it's going to just manifest itself into something different. Well, I think two things are going to happen. Either they're going to start opening it up to the gaming public, and it's going to be more like a Gamescom or PAX type thing, or it's just going to become a former shell of itself.
See, I don't think they. I don't know what that would accomplish because we have PAX.
Hmm.
I just think people would. I just think companies would begin shifting their their bigger games to PAX where they can get them out. Because look at EA. EA plays. They want to get their games now
Yeah.
out into the hands of their fan base, um, almost at the same time, if not before the press gets their hands on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony could do the same thing, and even if they wanted to leave PAX as a smaller show, because and Mama, you just came back from PAX, and how many big games were there?
Hmm. I mean, there were honestly most of the games that were there I've already knew about and either I had already played. So I wasn't not saying I wasn't impressed, but it just wasn't. I mean, the Overwatch they had Battleborn and what's the other game? They had the Gears
Hmm.
the Street Fighter, the competition. So it was more. It seemed like it was more the emphasis on the competitions versus the big game reveals or just
Hmm.
having the big games. I mean, Microsoft and PlayStation had their booths and they were the Bethesda and but I don't know. It was just so many. It was so many people there. I think having an E3 and open it up to the fans, would just be really great for me and many of those of us who just, stood in a long line for like, hours and didn't even have the opportunity to play, the games that we wanted
Excuse me.
to because it
Hmm.
was just so many people. So I just think maybe perhaps if they did open up an E3 or if Microsoft does have their own fan fest and what PlayStation is doing with PlayStation Experience, I actually think those are great things to do for those of us that don't really get the opportunity to go to a PAX or E3 or when we do go, we don't get the opportunity. We don't have the opportunity to play the games at PlayStation Experience. I could at least play the games there. I could play anything at PAX. It was just so crowded and so many people.
Yeah.
So I think if they want to get their games in the hands of gamers and in front of gamers, they're gonna have to make some adjustments. But just to answer your question, there really weren't a lot of big games at PAX East. There really weren't.
I think you may.
Nothing.
I think you may see more.
Yeah,
You know,
that would be great. That would be.
and I do remember, when indie games were
Hmm.
first kind of breaking on the scene. There used to be and there might still be. You used to have the East and the West Hall at the convention center. But then you had a hall, like a specialized hall that was for indie stuff. And back then, like when Rock Band or was it Rock Band or Guitar Hero, one of those two was indie before it got picked up. Um, Harmonix was an indie developer, and they had not signed a big deal yet. So the first game, I don't think had a big publisher.
Hmm.
They were in this indie hall, and I mean that's how they got found. Um,
Mm,
and so now PAX is almost like an indie show.
yeah.
And I know Microsoft and Sony both like to you know get their indie developers out there to show off. I mean, ID at
Hmm.
Xbox does some great show setups and stuff like that. Um, and I think that could be a pivot point to where companies might want to spend their money because that's where the fans are.
Yeah.
So, well, I got to that because I kind of wanted to make it about Nintendo, but man, it's hard not to. It really is hard not to talk about it as a whole because it's such a change in our industry,
Yeah.
you know. So, but uh, real quick before we pivot to the other Nintendo news that kind of rumor type stuff, what do you guys think about Nintendo not just not showing NX there and just almost not being there?
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit last time, and I feel like Nintendo is in a position where they want the spotlight completely on them. And I think I said on your show last week, Mike, that I feel like that Nintendo is looking at E3. It's always who wins. It's always Sony or Microsoft. Nintendo is never included. So perhaps if they just create an environment where they can release the NX and release their games, and they can have all the attention completely on them, all the spotlight, and perhaps their message and their games and the system, they'll have a clear path straight to the gamers, and it not be, clouded by the PS4, Neo or the Xbox Slim or whatever other, in games. So if that's the purpose, I think I can stand that. I can't. I can understand that, I guess, from a business perspective. But I mean, what else do they do? I mean, think about it. If it's true that PlayStation is going to announce something, a system, Microsoft might be announcing a system, and then Nintendo announces the NX. Where do you think the media, and not just media, but us gamers, who are we going to be talking about? Are we going to be talking about Nintendo and the NX?
I would think if it was, well, I would. So here's okay. So let me pivot that into what we are kind of seeing now, and I blame Nintendo for this. Honestly, we have done more guessing and hoping,
Yes.
but the problem
So
is
true.
it is, but Nintendo's giving us nothing, and yeah, I understand what you're saying about E3 not wanting to take not wanting to possibly share the spotlight, but at the same time, being that it is in an industry, it would be like an electronics manufacturer not showing up for the CES show because they just don't want to show their receiver off with everybody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find, I
I
mean,
get
this is
that.
an industry event that's specifically press. If you want to get that information out through the press channels, this is the place to do it, regardless of what the other companies are doing. That's why Bethesda is having another press conference. That's why Ubisoft is bringing probably Aisha Taylor back to do another press conference, because those guys still want to get their stuff out into the hands of the press so that they can get reported on. And so right now, what's happening is we know absolutely nothing. And we get speculation like, well, this is what the controller might look like, this is what this might look like. And this week, now there's this rumor based upon somebody uncovering some, I don't know, some kind of paper that they saw that Mactronics, which makes Nintendo's DS cartridges, their little ROM cartridges, they're supposed to see some giant uptick in production by the end of the year. So what is everybody, all of a sudden thinking? Oh my God, the Nintendo NX might use cartridges instead of discs.
Yeah.
This is the new rumor. Now, obviously, right.
I'm
So
sorry.
whose fault is it that
Oh
we're
my
sitting here having to
gosh.
talk about this? It's not
Oh
our
my
fault.
gosh.
It's
Oh my
Nintendo's fault.
gosh.
But think about it. Well, and it's not the craziest thing. Now, I know when the three of us talk about cartridges, what do we think?
I
I
think
think
of.
landfill. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
You think ET?
That was a nice pull, Mamacita.
That was
That was
beautiful.
great. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, that was awesome.
I was gonna say blowing into the cartridges to make them work.
We think of
E.T.
this, right? Big giant
Yeah.
Super Mario cartridge,
Yeah.
right? Have to, pop it down into the slot and all that. But, and to be fair, Nintendo DS cartridges basically are these.
Hmm.
They can hold 8 gigs just in that. I'm sure that technology now allows them to do. I mean, come on, you can get flash drives that are 32 gigs, big.
Yeah.
You could get little mini hard drives that are
Hmm.
terabyte that are not this big. So it's not inconceivable that you could get a high density you know card like this that could hold a game. Oh, the questions I would have would be, can you produce these at a cost that makes it reasonable, and would that really effectively take the place of a disc
Hmm.
game? Or, I mean, do we just go digital at this point? Uh, and
Mm.
avoid the landfill. That was great. That was perfect. What do I think of? I think of landfill.
I would be curious to see what the public reaction would be if Nintendo said, "Oh, we're gonna go back to cartridges." I
I can see all the YouTube videos of how to blow in the cartridges. Although there has been some scientific evidence, because I saw
we
this a
talked
couple of
about
months
this.
ago. Yes,
Yeah.
that all that blowing into the cartridges was just all in our minds. It's just
You know what, Mama? It worked for me.
I thought it worked for me too. But they've proven that no, that was in our minds, and at some point the cartridge just decided to work on its own. It wasn't because we were actually blowing dust out of the cartridge.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I
That
thought
was
I
the
was.
that was the biggest placebo effect ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You did better by taking a pencil eraser and erasing the
Yeah.
that actually is a it's kind of an IT trick that we used to use for cleaning pins and things like that. But anyway,
I don't know. I don't know how that would be received. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't either.
It's
I,
just you say so much speculation, and it's so much
Yeah.
what we don't know, and so
Uh-huh.
many questions unanswered, and we're all just kind of coming up with our own things, and I don't know.
and
I don't
Yeah.
that's
know
the
what to
problem
think.
is they need to get to where they give us enough information that we stop having to. Basically, we're building this console for them. I mean,
Yeah,
we've
we
we've
Yeah.
we've developed the controller. We've developed the fact that it's cartridge based.
yeah.
But the other thing is, and somebody brought this up, and it was an interesting point. You know how we have also speculated that the DS or a mobile piece may be part of it?
Yep.
Like maybe the DS docks with it? Maybe that's how it works. Maybe it works through cards and cartridges and stuff like that. I mean, it's also not the first time a full console has used cards or cartridges in this kind of form. The TurboGrafx and the Sega Master System did it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not unprecedented.
No,
It's
it's
just
not.
it's just weird after decades of discs.
Yeah. So,
Um,
Mike, you were asking like earlier if we were surprised that I think well, yeah, you were asking if we were surprised that they weren't going to be at E3 or announcing the NX, and we talked about this on Basement Radio Arcade. Um, Tuesday night, we go live, by the way, people, on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern
there you
Standard
go.
Time.
The
The Basement
the
Radio Arcade, yeah, the. Starting with, I'm going to plug us real quick,
absolutely.
but no, we were talking about it, and I think we were kind of surprised by um, this move that they wouldn't announce the NX at E3 because of the significance and the look. I mean, historically, there's always been, if you're going to announce a console, you do it at E3, and so we were all kind of surprised, but maybe they do it. When Nintendo, like, because they kind of like to march to the beat of their own drum. So
Hmm.
we were kind of thinking, well, maybe they do this on their home turf, Tokyo Game Show. You
Ooh,
know, I mean, maybe they do that. I mean, they're talking about a March 2017 release date, so there has to be some announcement at some point this year. I don't see Nintendo just saying, okay, we're gonna send a
We're going to
email.
do it right. We're going
Yeah,
to
we're
do a
gonna.
Nintendo Direct on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Rick. I don't see them doing that. There's got to be, and I think someone said Gamescom too on Tuesday night. I think B Money or Al said Gamescom, but there's got to be some kind of industry announcement. At least for me, it would make sense Tokyo Game Show, because that's Nintendo's home. That's a market they still do very well in the mobile space. They dominate that market, in the mobile space, and I don't know. Yeah, that if they that the Tokyo Game Show would make sense to me. I think that's the place where they would the event that they would announce it. And if they don't, I don't know. I'd be asking the question like, what are they thinking then?
I think a lot of us are asking that question now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want them to do well. That's the thing. Like it's for me, it's like, geez,
I think everybody does.
like I mean, they make the best first party games, but they just, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know,
So
Mike, if everybody does. There's so much anti Nintendo uh, sentiment out there. It really is.
I don't know
You
why.
know,
I
I don't
don't
know
get
why.
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
either.
I don't get it.
I don't. I mean, I get that people are fed up with them, because they want them to do things differently, and they feel like they're stuck in, this mindset. And so I do get that. I do. But that doesn't. I don't think I, in turn, want to say bye bye Nintendo and want to see you go, the way of Sega or, the Dodo Bird. I don't want that.
I hope they don't go the
So
way of Sega.
No, I
no,
don't either.
I don't want them to do that.
You know,
I really
No.
don't.
Could
It's
you
it's
imagine a gaming industry without Sega and Nintendo?
I no, I
I,
can't. I can't, Mike. I really can't because it's hard for me to even still think of Sega not being in the mix. I mean, I grew up with Sega
yeah.
as a console manufacturer, and
Sega.
yeah, Sega.
Why do you think I went through that trouble to do that Dreamcast stuff? And you know what? There's a small part of me that really would love to see that Project Dream that I showed last week kind of
Yeah,
get anywhere. I'd love to, but it's just the way of the world right now.
yeah,
It's a Microsoft and Sony dominated world. Sony more so at this point, and Nintendo has got. I don't know what they got to catch their base. And you're right. There's a lot of anti Nintendo sentiment out there. I think it's sad. I think it's as much. I actually think it's sadder coming from somebody who was a Sega guy. I find that actually more sad than the ridiculous ridiculous Sony and Microsoft crap that's going on. I think poor Nintendo. It's not like they've even done anything to warrant it. So
no.
yeah.
But
Uh,
let me ask you something, guys. Let me. I mean, we were talking about this on Tuesday night. Like, is this kind of like their last shot at being successful in the home console space? And if this console is successful for them, do you guys think that they'll get out of the home console space and maybe
yeah,
just
I think
focus
this
on
would be
mobile?
it. I think this would have to be it for them. I can't see. I mean, there's only so much money that they have in reserve from the Wii. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they plundered it. They got plundered with the Wii U, and then I don't think they could take a windfall. They've already said that they're not going to sell the NX at a loss, and that tells me that they don't have the cash at the moment that they think. They obviously have cash on hand, but when you do research and development and stuff, I don't think they can survive another
Yeah, but
poor
haven't they
console.
always sold their consoles at a profit though? I mean, I always feel
Yes,
like
but they did so with inferior hardware when we talk about,
hmm
like the Wii was not nearly as powerful as, the Xbox
yeah,
360
yeah,
or
yeah,
PS3,
yeah,
which is
Or
why
my
I
cell
always go back,
phone.
right. Or your cell phone, right. Which is why I always go back to power not being the be all end all. But eh, unfortunately, we're also in a different gaming world, and I don't like it as much as you guys don't, but there's a reality that comes into play. So
yeah.
yeah, I would say so. Mamacita, do you agree?
Mm, I think the NX has to be the do all console for gamers to actually go out and buy, uh, this system and support it, and developers and third parties. I think it's the last opportunity for that. Now, what Nintendo does if it's not successful, I can't say. I don't know, because I it's just so hard to really get inside Nintendo's psyche as a company. It really is. So I don't know, and I just don't know. I don't know what they would do, because it seems like they are setting themselves up, bits and pieces, like that, kind of diving into the mobile space. It appears that way. So maybe, there is a backup plan that if the NX just doesn't, cut it for them this time around, they look into the mobile space. But I don't know. They are, I will say Nintendo is stubborn. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, we can all kind of make our own interpretation. But they are. They and like Enrique say, they beat to the beat of their own drum. So, I don't know. I don't know.
I just
Yeah.
I agree. But I
Yeah.
just feel like it's time for them to step up and start telling us about the console. It's time. You got too much. You got too many rumors out there. You have too many speculations. You gotta get ahead of this, because
Yeah.
if you don't, this is going to
Yeah.
spiral out of control. And what's going to end up happening is the console's not going to be what all these rumors are, and then the people aren't going to like it, because they've gone so
Yes.
far thinking it's going to be this, thinking it's
Yeah.
going to be this, and it's
Yeah.
not this, and they're gonna have this automatic I don't like it without
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Now
realizing.
that's the one thing that does concern me. If this console does not, bring the power and features and all that that gamers are expecting it, I think would be more a signal, a sign of doom in, for me. If it doesn't live up to the hype that it's getting, and if it's not on par with, and I don't know if being on par with current generation system is that even good enough now. Is it, should it
Yeah.
even exceed
With
where
our
we
wonderful
are?
entitled millennial gamers.
Yeah.
What's wrong with millennials, Mike?
Uh-oh.
Oh, get me started.
Uh-oh.
I have this conversation at work all the time. We deal with millennials. It's just
Don't get me started.
their attitude on work and their yeah. It's
I got
like
a great video I'll show you later
yeah.
on.
Uh-oh.
I find that I always keep saying to myself, I'm aging out of gaming. Not the love of gaming. I mean, but the whole. It's like sometime this week, I think I actually typed, "Can I just reboot my Twitter feed? Can I just reboot it?"
Uh,
So, listen, I not to cut everybody off, but I did promise that we were going to keep this one short.
mm,
I do not, I value you guys coming on a great deal, so I want to keep to my word. So you guys keep coming back on. Very quickly, Mamacita, what are you playing this week? And then please plug your channel.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll be playing the Overwatch beta sometime tomorrow, and hopefully finishing Uncharted 3. It's in the next few days,
good game.
hopefully, so that I can then move on to Uncharted 4. So that's the plan. But the Overwatch beta, I will be on that tomorrow. That's set. That's set for me.
Excellent.
Yes. And Uncharted 3.
All right. And Classy Gamer Gals is on.
Well, yeah. With Classic Gaming, because we're doing a bi-weekly Enter the Gals Room. Some of the episodes will be taped and some will be live. And so I've got to get with my girls and kind of decide. We were doing Tuesday nights, but I don't know. We may have to move to Thursdays, and it would be bi-weekly. Like I said, some shows will be live and some will be taped, contingent upon whatever the topics are and how I'm able to gather, the topics for that particular night. And then we will also have guest hosts as well. So just look for that. And then of course, I'm doing the open mic podcast, which is I'm trying to position it for once a month. I do a particular podcast with someone in the gaming community. So I'm still working on that as well. So that's pretty much it for Classy Gamer Gals. And as I said, I just try to keep it classy.
And you do.
You
As I
do.
always say, you
She
always bring.
does.
She does. She always
Yeah.
brings class to my podcast.
All right.
That's
All
your boo,
right.
Mike.
And she is. Is. Mamacita knows I love her.
I love you too, Mike.
So, all right.
Aw.
So see the feels. The feels again.
The feels.
Feels.
And I love you too, Enrique.
Last
Oh,
week,
thank you, Mamacita.
last week we were all crying in the middle of the podcast.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
guys, come to my rescue. All right, Enrique, what are you playing? And give us the rundown quickly on the Basement Radio Arcade podcast.
All right. So I'm actually playing Quantum Break. I'm actually trying to finish that game. Yeah.
What?
Well, Dark Souls 3 came out and Ratchet and Clank came out, and so I started playing those games, and I neglected Quantum Break. But
At
Oh,
least
um,
you got your save game intact.
yeah, well, yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny every time. Well, it's not funny, but every time that I play the game now, I'm like, oh my god, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope this like no, seriously, because it's a problem.
Uh-huh.
Like you're not the only
It
one
is.
that's happened
well,
to.
Oh,
they
I know.
updated it though, didn't they?
They did, and
Did they?
apparently,
Okay.
Patch?
and
Yeah.
apparently they have fixed it.
Yeah, because I heard the PC version was very booty, like it wasn't even working on
Yeah.
high-end PC. So, I'm playing Quantum Break, and I'm playing Mike, your favorite game, Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
No comment,
No,
huh?
Mike's like, no, but Mike,
He pleaded the fifth on that one.
yeah, right.
Have you seen my Twitch streams on
Yes,
Dark Souls 3?
yes. But Mike, it's a great. I love the game. I think you know what I like about it. It's that it's you have to be a student of the game, and there's not many games out there like that anymore. And that's what I love about it.
And I'm starting to see that. I saw somebody, one of our friends, Crazy Juan. He broadcasts Dark Souls 1,
Mhm.
and I'm watching him play, and I'm thinking to myself, there's some things that I can pull from what he's doing, and I've had a lot of help. When we have more time, I've had a lot of help from people as I have complained this week. So they have said, "Wait a minute, here, try this." So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a Basement Radio Arcade.
Yeah, Basement Radio Arcade. We are on every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, we will be on this week on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we're all going to be playing Uncharted 4, which comes out on Tuesday. And so we'll have some in-game impressions or our own take on Uncharted 4 on Wednesday night. So, and if you want to give me a follow on Twitter, you can. It's at Areezgamer. That's Areez Gamer on Twitter. And yeah, we just talk games. We don't get involved in all the fanboy BS. So if you're looking for a place to just listen to gamers, just you know shoot the shit. Yeah, come join us Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Excellent. And you can catch in both of those if you need. I'll have the descriptions for both of you guys. Actually, the links in the description for both of you guys. And of course, if you are on our channel and you see our Next Level Gaming podcast family list on the right, both of them are prominently displayed. Click and give them all a subscribe. We are all family here, and together we make the internet a better place. Because believe me, if you're on Twitter, you need it. All right, so as for me,
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3, of course, all week. If you want to see the funniest, if you just want to see a stream and laugh your ass off, I think what I'm going to do
Oh, wait, Mike. So
between the cussing and as somebody said to me today, at least the humming and the singing lightens the mood. So I think what I'm going to do is take my greatest hits and I'm going to put them into a YouTube video and put it up on YouTube because, Lord,
Oh
Mike,
God,
where are you at right now in Souls?
what is that place? I'm still in the castle, the high.
The high tower. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'm with you, man. And I haven't been able to dedicate too much time to it because I've had other things going on. But I'm right there with you. I just got to the church and got the banner. But
Okay.
that's where I'm at right now.
I think I'm close. I got to beat that big fat guy in the square.
You don't have to beat him. You can actually run around him.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you for that tip.
yeah. Al, actually, Al on Basement Radio. Yeah, Alcoholocaust on Basement Radio actually told me that. He's like, "You fought that guy?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I just ran around him." I'm like, "You can do that?" I'm like, "Oh my, yeah." Because
Oh my,
I thought he was a major boss, but he's not. He's just like
oh
this.
my God. That
Mm.
maybe I'm not playing Overwatch when we're done. You might see a quick stream of Dark Souls 3 in a little while Next Level Gaming's Twitch stream, which is twitch.tv.og_gaming.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, so running. Let's get this done and over with. Thank you guys for coming on tonight. Mamacita, I thank you for coming on even though you were time constrained, and I love you for that. Enrique, thanks for jumping on. I know you've got some busy stuff coming, so
oh yeah.
yes. Want to give a very, very, very quick shout to my man PTK Blam. He got some really good news on his family tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Um, his son had some tumors, and they were doing some. I think they were doing some chemo on, and those tumors are
Oh.
gone. He is.
Oh my
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
goodness.
what a
sounds like
great
he's full
blessing.
cure.
Yeah,
Oh
So I just wanted to give him a
wow.
shout out, tell him and his family that
Awesome.
we were thinking about him and his family tonight, and the joy that he must be feeling. And
yes,
um,
yes,
dude,
Awesome.
that is such
absolutely.
wonderful news. So
That's great
our
news.
our hearts go out to you tonight, buddy. And he said it was a big boulder off of his shoulders, and I could only
Wonderful.
man, I could only imagine the joy they're going through. So to my good friend PTK Blam, congrats, man. Okay, so thank you guys once again, guys in the chat room: Maddie, Peter, Mitchell, um, Young Savage, my buddies out there. Thanks once again for being in there. Brian, thanks for coming in. You guys help make this what it is, and I love watching it even when I can't be too involved in it. Like and subscribe. Please click that like button. Hit us up. Give us a subscription. I'm trying my best to get new content. I've got some content creators that are expressing some interest in doing some stuff, doing some extra streams for us, and I'm going to start getting that together. Still working on that co-host slot, even though I like doing this. But like and subscribe. Also, quick shout out to the good people at Rare who were nice enough to send me the Sea of Thieves shirt that I won in a contest.
Nice.
So I wanted to give them a shout. So everybody, as always, guys, um, real quick, any last thoughts?
No, I just want to
You got to go
say,
to bed.
yeah, no, seriously, that's great
I
news
like
for
that shirt.
PTK Blam, though. Awesome news.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is great news.
That's
Yeah,
really
I'm
awesome news.
very happy
yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So everybody, as always, have a absolutely wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Make sure you call. Make sure you hug. Make sure you tell your mom you love them.
I wish I could sing that Boys to Men song, Mama song, but I can't. 'Cause I would sing it right now, and I would sing it to Mama.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, Mama,
All
happy Mother's Day to
right.
you too.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep it gaming. Get some Overwatch beta time in. And as always, play on, gamers.